So, can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Great. Well, I want to thank you. I'm Rod McKenzie. My company is Story Changes Everything. And what we do is we give you extreme clarity for your business through done with you coaching. So what does that mean? Well, there's a problem out there. And this problem is that small business owners and leaders lose sleep at night. They have anxiety and are paralyzed and haunted by their own internal mind games. It's caused by poor business insight, and it's the leading cause of business failure. So part of that problem is confusion. Answering the question, what do you do, is more about your life story than actually answering the question. We've all met that person that goes on and on about what they do. And people give you a look that says, I don't get it, or I don't care. And the result is your business keeps you up at night. This is what causes you all those sleepless nights and the problems, because you don't know how you're getting through to people and you don't know how to share your business. Also, you don't know your clients. Obviously, everyone needs your product or service, so you target everyone. We've all met those people, and we've always been those people at times where we just try to sell our product to everybody. Your clients don't care about you. They only care about themselves. They don't care that you make the best widget in the world unless it matters to them. The result is you don't know how to reach your clients, and your marketing absolutely stinks. Also, you have a struggling business. You haven't written your story, so everyone else gets to do it for you. Without a story, your marketing doesn't match your business. You're not able to go across platforms, go from social media channel to social media channel and keep a consistent message. And the result is nobody relates to your business because they can't understand who you are or what you stand for. And you end up competing on price. And we all know that people that compete on price can end up being a commodity. And commodities are famous for going bankrupt because of low margins. So the solution is story coaching. We teach business owners and leaders how to create their business story and gain extreme clarity for their business. So why story coaching? Well, I've got 27 years of telling stories of thousands of people. I've created over 250 different storytelling sales publications for businesses and sold over 85 million copies of those. Those publications have sold hundreds of millions of dollars of products for my clients. I also put this into a book called The Story Formula. So what we give you is extreme clarity. We help you create an identity for your business using one sentence definitions of each of the following. The escape from pain you solve. Now, what is an escape from pain? I don't know, you guys may have heard about the guy in Utah that was out hiking near Moab, had a boulder fall and it trapped his arm. Well, he had to cut his arm off literally to survive. What the pain that you have to solve literally has to be so severe that people are willing to do anything to escape from it. That's why I call it an escape from pain. What's your big idea? I worked with a television producer. I sat down for 2 hours and he couldn't tell me in 2 paragraphs what he wanted to do. No wonder after 7 years, he's still looking for funding. What is the purpose of your business? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Apple is a great study on that. They ask you to think different. All kinds of things with Apple's culture, and people are raving fans, and actually they take raving fanage to a whole different level. So Apple fanboys, whatever it is, I like Apple. I'm not saying anything negative. And what intrinsic success means for you and your business. Have you guys ever had to choose between mortgage and employees paying either, and you can't pay both? Well, if you don't have something that you're not purpose driven, and you don't have something that really moves you and what you have for success for your business, it's really hard. Business is hard and people get stuck, and having that purpose and intrinsic success defined keeps you going. It keeps you on a right course. So we help you understand your clients. We help conduct a characteristic, behavioral, and emotional analysis of your clients. You need that, because when you talk about someone and learn their escape from pains, you need to know how that makes the clients feel, because you can't tell a story without making someone feel, or without understanding how they feel and relating to them on an emotional level. If you do, the story is just worthless. What are their enemies of your clients? The enemies, every story has an antagonist. You know, if you're selling shoes, the enemy might be to a women. The enemy might be other women who are wearing nicer shoes than you. Every story has an enemy, has an antagonist. What are the events that trigger those escape from pains, so that you understand the life cycle of your client and the where they're at in their emotional state. And when they fall off that cliff, that event triggers them falling off a cliff into the pit of despair. And then if you can help them go from the pit of despair to their promised land, remember, not yours, but theirs, now you have a way to transform clients' lives. The results are you control your content, story, and reputation. Across the message boards, across social media, anything, other people are going to say stuff about your company. But if you have your story out there so strongly, then you control it, other people don't. You attract your ideal clients. You just don't sell to them, but you actually attract them. You can share your business anytime, anywhere, and do it with confidence. And also purpose driven businesses have been shown over a 15-year study on the S&P 500 to have 1,000% higher profits than their competitors. So being purpose driven is not just giving away a pair of shoes every time you buy a pair of shoes, but it's enlightening and inspiring others, your own staff, your clients, everyone. So here's a couple client results. Inherent Biosciences. This is a biotech company in Utah. I helped them. The statement that you see there, I helped them create. And that is from the investor, the primary investor in their seed round. So what I did, Andy, the CEO of Inherent Biosciences, as we were working through his foundation, understanding his identity, understanding those things, he would go out to networking events and try those out. And he created his super simple elevator pitch. And it all came because he got super clear on what he was doing. Infinite Age is a nutrition company. Proactive Wealth Concepts, it's a financial planner. He actually, the owner of that company, had been doing financial planning for 20 years, and he had more clarity working with me in 5 to 7 hours than he had in 20 years in his business. So my business model, coaching versus consulting. Coaching creates independence and freedom. I can replicate it and scale it online, and I teach clients instead of doing it for them. Whereas consulting, it creates a dependence of the client on the consultant. And the only way to scale is to hire other people, and it's a much higher cost over time. I've been in the business for 27 years. I've decided to turn player into coach. And so I've decided to take the coaching model so that I can help more people and I don't have to do all the work for them. So my competition, you probably heard of StoryBrand. There's a StoryBrand certification, a certified guide. Anyone can become a certified guide. Now, this is someone that doesn't even have any experience at all. And you have to attend some online workshops and pay around 10 grand. It's a generalized system that can be interpreted in a lot of ways. And it's a good system. They offer coaching, different things, and it's better to get people into it. But it's where you don't have to have, any experience in storytelling in order to become a StoryBrand guide. With Story Changes Everything, we actually have actual experience in telling stories. I've told the stories of thousands, and I've helped generate hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. And we teach you the story formula. And the story formula is how I'm a logical creative. So I've got a computer science degree, yet I've been in marketing for 27 years. So I know how both sides work. So I had to put a formula to creating stories. And that's what I teach my clients so that they can use that formula again and again, and they don't have to go out and hire a consultant every time they want to do something. So my growth plan is one-to-one coaching, group coaching systems, online courses, and online social media marketing. I'm planning on taking this to where I still continue to help one-to-one coaching. I actually still work at a greatly reduced rate with a women's business incubator in Utah, and I've helped about 30 different companies through that incubator tell their stories. So, and what does success mean to us? Well, helping business owners and leaders one by one gain extreme clarity and become driven by purpose through powerful coaching and purpose-driven storytelling. So there we are. There's my contact information. Let's open it up for questions.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Rod. This is fantastic. And I love that you use one of my favorite C words, clarity. Because I have to agree with you 100%. That truly is what stops us from moving forward in anything. It basically leaves our car in parked. So we're not willing to drive. We're not willing to move forward. So thank you for sharing that. Before I get to real quick, I'm gonna put this on you. Why do you care? I know why you're the right person for the job. You made that very clear. but why do you care so much about this?
Well, my own personal purpose is I thrive when I look at someone smile and know that I contributed to it. This is what moves me. This is, everything about, I'm just a fanatic for business startups. I've been doing it for 27 years. I've seen thousands of pitches. I've been going to Million Cups for over 7 years. I love to see that light go on in somebody's mind. That's what moves me. So this is really what I love to do. And I've got my sharing of my screen off onto a different monitor. So I'm not going to be able to see the comments. So if you'll help me out with the comments, Josh, but that's why I do things. That's why I do what I do. And that's why I work with Concept to about $1 billion in revenue are most of my clients. There's other clients that make, I have a client that does about $50 million a year. So but I love the startup ecosystem. So that's why I do it.
Awesome. Yeah, no problem. I'll help you with the comments. So question from Eric, are you able to teach this in a classroom setting? And or can you give a free sample presentation to win new business? Perhaps.
Yes, what is that? Yes, I teach it in the classroom setting. I am able to, I do group coaching. I've done group coaching with incubators. I've done group coaching all over the place. And so it can be done in a classroom setting, but I'm not sure about how he's asking that other question.
Yeah, he says, basically, can you give a free, okay, ahead.
I've known people who, they're social media marketers or consultants. And so they will teach a quick 101 level class, like 5 reasons why you need Twitter.
Right.
And then they'll run through that presentation and they'll just invite local small business owners, teach them why they need Twitter in the hopes that then one of those people say, I do need Twitter, but I don't have the time. So you know how to do it since you clearly taught it. So you do it. Do you ever give those kind of presentations?
I've done lunch and learns. I've done all kinds of things at various startup, co-working facilities or different places. And yeah, I love actually doing that because I've driven actually a lot of clients that way because I'll wet their whistle, so to say. So you bet.
Awesome. Scott wants to know, what is an issue you have the most trouble with in working with new clients?
Actually, once I land a client, it's pretty awesome because the first step that I take people through is I help them develop their own personal purpose in life and understand that. I created a system. I believe that our own purpose in life is what brings us joy and true joy. And so it's about a 3-hour process. And this is actually the very first step in my story coaching is that I help them discover in one sentence what their purpose in life is. And then we help relate that to their business. It's much more than business. It has to do with their own family life, their everything about them. And by the time I get through that process, I've actually built such a rapport with my clients that I have never had anyone skip out. I had one person out of all my clients actually skip out on one part of my lesson. So my coaching. So it's actually, I have a lot of dependability because I build a rapport with them right up front. Because when you understand your purpose in life, that's a deeply emotional setting. And I believe that all of our businesses, since we're running small businesses, I believe that our drive is what drives those businesses. So when I help them understand what the personal purpose in life is, I help them see exactly how their business relates to them and how they're so bought into their own business. So I'm of the philosophy that you do what you're passionate about. I know there's different, if you look at Mark Cuban on Shark Tank, he says that's BS, but I look at, I think you should actually go into something that you are passionate about because life is hard and you've got to be able to keep that passion up.
Absolutely. What they don't teach you in business school is everything is monetizable. So why would you ever start with the money aspect first? So yeah. I'm 100% with you on that. Who are you talking to? Like really specifically, I know we've talked about this in the past, but
right.
Who specifically are you talking to with this?
What I'm looking for is my ideal client is an entrepreneur or a business leader. So it could be a manager of a company. But my goal is to talk to the entrepreneur who's in concept stage up to about $1 million a year in revenue. But I want someone who's stuck. I want someone who's having challenges with their business. Someone that's got everything moving and they really get it. You know, I've worked with that with people. I do a free story check is what I do. That's my needs analysis, where I will go through, and I actually up on my website, I have a video of what a story check is like. I actually did it on my own company so people can see exactly what I do with others. So I give that needs analysis, but I want someone who's stuck. I want someone who doesn't know what they're doing, because I love seeing that clarity. That's one of the reasons I built it this way and built my formula, was to help people line upon line, step by step, get that understanding and clarity. So I'm really looking for someone who's struggling with their business or struggling to turn a concept into reality, because that's where it's really fun, and that's where I've helped a lot of people. Does that help?
It helps a little bit. I think you can even probably get a little more specific, but I'll be careful with the startup to $1 million in revenue, because that's like 99.9% of everyone.
Yeah,
so that's not really a differentiator.
that is true. So, but really, my differentiator is someone who's hungry for their business, someone who is, and believe me, I see you shaking your head, Josh, but there is a very distinct difference in the people that are running a business. I knew a guy that ran a little hamburger joint, and he was working 80 to 100 hours in his business, and he wouldn't take time to work on his business. These are people that are willing to work on their business, but it's not in their business. And that's a huge distinction. And because a lot of people will not take the time. I have a guy who's won Cake Wars twice, and we're friends, and he actually did the wedding cakes for 2 of my kids that are married. And it's been fantastic. He's called the Mighty Baker. And but he wouldn't step in. He took my consulting when I was doing consulting, but he wouldn't go through my coaching program because he wasn't hungry enough. So it's really a different level of commitment on business that I look for.
Got it. Denny says he loves the emphasis on not presupposing, because we have a tendency as companies, charities, governments, and individuals to assume that we know what everyone wants or needs, and as a result, we waste tremendous amounts of time and money until we understand what they both want and need. So that's a good point. Scott has a question. Once you've engaged a client, how do you find you spend more time on mindset or mechanics? Where do you tend to find the most, where do you spend the most time?
Well, the first part of what I go through is the identity stage. And so that takes about 3 to 4 sessions, a couple hours a piece. And then I go through developing out the data side and the mechanical side. And so I spend about actually 50-50. It's about 50% mindset, 50% of clarification of who they are. Then I teach them how to do it. And then we actually go out and do the rest. So it's about 50-50.
Okay. And here's a kind of a weird question, but let's see how it works out. How do you differentiate yourself? Not what makes you different. I got that. But how do you, when you go out and talk to people and explain what you do, how do you differentiate yourself? What do you find has been working really well because there's a lot of folks out there talking about story now. There's a lot of folks out there talking about branding, which is essentially kind of, the bigger box maybe that you and I are both in. What has been working for you to differentiate yourself from other branding marketers, storytellers, purpose-driven folks?
So after I'm crossed the hurdle and I'm actually talking to someone, is that right? Is that the scenario they want me to say?
Or no, or like let's talk about first impressions. Like when maybe you're just introducing yourself to someone, or you're just getting to know them that first time.
Right.
Because they may look at you and say, "Oh, you just do branding," or "Oh, I know like other people that do branding." Like how do you position yourself differently in the market, I suppose, in your own branding that you find is working well? Or sorry, I got cats like fighting each other here.
No problem.
It's freaking nuts.
So the first thing, when I was starting off doing this and trying to figure my way into how to position this because I'm not a typical business consultant. I can do consulting on all kinds of areas of business. I ran a successful retail side, which was a B2B with a B2C emphasis, which is kind of strange. But, in other words, I sell to businesses, but they sell to customers. So I had to fulfill both sides. when I said I'm a business coach, people just said, yeah, sure, and didn't give me any time of day. Well, one day, one of my people in a networking group said, oh, so you're a story coach. And I just took that and ran with it. So right away, by introducing myself as the chief story coach of Story Changes Everything, it sets me apart right up front. Absolutely. And so because people go, one or two people out of hundreds that I've talked to have just said, oh, okay. Everybody else says, really, what do you do? And so it immediately sets me apart right away with just my title. And so by doing that, I have a whole different conversation with people than I would if I'm saying I'm a consultant or a business coach or anything like that, or even a story brand certified guide, you know. But by being the chief story coach or a story coach, that right there just takes the conversation in an entirely different direction.
Yeah, excellent point. Good. I just want to make sure everyone understood that how critical that is when we present ourselves. So I don't think you were intentionally trying to diminuize, I suppose, the consultant form of business model versus coaching. Right. And I saw the difference you were making there, because I want to just challenge that a little bit, because consultants do have a very important role. For example, I don't want to learn how to fix my own transmission in my car. I just want someone to come in, fix it when it breaks, and I want to go drive it like 1,000 miles per hour. And yeah, they can teach me. It's not a good use of my time. It's not really my genius. It's not where I want to play. So I think there's roles for consultants in this space, as well as coaches and people that want to actually learn the process of that. So just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, so what I should probably say is that they're both valid, but personally, I've wanted to take the coaching route because I've done it for so many years that I want to teach others. I want to share my knowledge, and I want really what I'm looking for is, and where a lot of those clients are that I'm at, the really client that I want to have is I want to have someone who wants to have knowledge about how to run their business. I want someone who wants to be able to, because a lot of people in the startup phase can't afford to go out and hire someone to do it for them. So really, I should probably have that part of my ideal client of people that actually want to learn how to do it, because, you know, well, I have a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of them back in Utah because I was there for so long, but who actually are agency owners. They do video, they do all kinds of different things, you know, social media, all kinds of stuff. And I worked with a lot of them because they said, people come to us and they're not prepared at all. And so if a company doesn't have their own story worked out, then now each different agency that they work with has to go through and develop it for them, for their company. And you don't get any consistency of message. So I work with a lot of agencies where they'll flip a client to me first and have me help them with their story. Then they'll take that client back over and their job is so much easier. So, you know, the consultant versus the coaching, I really like the teaching because I want to help someone, even if they end up working with agencies, at least they know what they're doing and they understand who they are and they understand the process.
Yeah, makes sense. One technical thing on your client slide, your testimonial slide, I personally, I don't know if anyone else had this, I couldn't read any of that. There was just too much on that slide to read. So maybe I would rather you in your presentation just tell the story, put a picture of the person like really big so I can see who you're talking about, and then just tell the story, because I couldn't read all that. But otherwise, I liked your presentation. I liked the flow. It was very clear. You're very direct. You were kind of reading some of the bullet points, but you know, it actually flowed it still flowed pretty nicely, to be honest.
Well, thank you.
Eric says, what do you do for the client once your initial process is done? Do you have an ongoing engagement? So I guess, are there multiple layers or stages?
There are multiple layers. I will continue on with coaching services. A lot of times they'll want me to help them create a story for this part or for this part. They'll take all my data that I help them create and all the data that I help them create, and I'll teach them how to use it in different situations. So I do have a retention coaching that they pay on a monthly service fee, or I can come in and work on another project with them, project based.
Got it. And I actually, I apologize. I skipped Tammy's comment. She says, you see the value in it. Tammy, do you want to unmute and just maybe, I don't know if you had a question there, or just, can you expand on that?
No, that was in when Rod was talking about, he was answering your question about why he wants to do it. And so I just basically added that he sees the value in it, the coaching versus consulting.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Eric says he thinks you have a typo on one of the initial slides, a then instead of a van, or that should have been a van. So I missed that, but Eric probably caught it on one of your
Thank you,
slides
Eric.
there.
I'll go back and look at that. Josh, you muted yourself.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know if I'm muted, or I don't know if I'm coming or going here. So I'm gonna send it back to you, Eric, for our final question.
All right, thank you very much,
bet.
and well done, Rod.
Thank
Final question you've heard me ask many times before. What can we as a community do for you?
Imagine that. I had a slide ready for it. So share my information with others, businesses and owners. What I'm really looking for is I need to build up a local clientele. I moved out here from Utah 4 months ago, and so I'd love to be able to meet with groups like what you suggested, Eric, or asked, do you meet with groups? I would be happy to come in and do lunch and learns at different places for different networking groups, Zoom, live, it all works for me. And then also, please schedule a free story check for yourselves. You can go to my website at storycoaching.co. And I would be happy to sit down with you for about half an hour and ask you a few questions and just see where things fit with you. It's about a 10-point analysis, and I'm able to work through and help you evaluate your story and see if we're a fit to work together. If we're not, I'm the first one to tell you, because I want to make sure that you get what you guys need. So that's what I'd really like to do.
All right, thank you very much.